Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Friday here in Tampa Bay. The weather has gotten chilly and crisp, and I love that. So we are soaking it up here at the neighborhood dog park, and Judd and I are just letting Har burn some energy before we make our way to my POTS doctor, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. My form of autonomic dysfunction, basically meaning my autonomic nervous system cannot properly regulate blood flow. It leads to a ton of terrible symptoms. Anyways, we are going to him just for a checkup on my POTS, and I'm also going to ask him about my allergy issues. I'm diagnosed with idiopathic anaphylaxis, and I have suspected mast cell activation disorder. And since mast cell often goes with POTS, he knows enough about it, and he also prescribes my emergency medication, which is IV Benadryl that we apply through my port at the start of a reaction. If you want to see a little bit of a reaction, you can watch yesterday's vlog. There's a link to it in the description of this video. Because while I was filming for the vlog, I started having a reaction out in public in a sporting goods store, so that was interesting. Anyways, we're gonna let Harlow play a little bit, and then we're gonna hit the road for my appointment. I didn't throw it! Harlow, come here! Oh, she's so dumb sometimes. She's pretty, but dumb. Harlow, go get it! Oh, it went that way. That's my dog. Oh, she did it! She's so proud of herself. Good girl. Well, we are on the road to my doctor. Basically, what I want to accomplish today is just a few things. I want to do an overview of my POTS just to make sure he feels I'm in a comfortable place. I feel like it's gotten a little bit more out of control since the allergies have started because the reactions trigger my POTS, but if we can get the allergies more under control, that would be awesome. I want to talk to him just to make sure he's okay with how I'm using the IV Benadryl, which is how it's prescribed, of course, so I'm sure that'll be fine. I also just want to see if he has any more options for how to better handle my allergies besides just the IV Benadryl. I'm on histamine blockers, H1 and H2, twice a day, my cromulin, which is a mast cell stabilizer, 4 times a day, albuterol treatment 4 times a day. Those are both nebulizers that I inhale. So there's breathing treatments 4 times a day, and Singulair, Symbicort, other things to help me breathe better and control allergies. So I don't really think there's much else we can do. And that's why my doctors want me to go to this supposed mast cell expert in Gainesville, Florida. She's with UF, University of Florida Health. It's just, I called Gainesville and they want specific records that I have, and my doctor, my POTS doctor, has all those records. I just have to tell his nurse which ones to send, so I'm going to do that today as well. And I also would like him to write a protocol for the ER and hospital admissions for me, so when I have to go in due to my allergies, I can show them what he recommends for my issues, because my hospital knows me well already, and it's kind of like I'm a little bit overwhelming for them just because I'm such a complicated case and my allergies are so severe and my episodes and reactions are so severe. And I've been hospitalized 4 times this year for this. The first 3 hospitalizations were pretty well handled. The fourth one, the hospital was overcrowded and it was kind of like a huge mess. So if they have this protocol, which doesn't mean they have to follow it legally or anything because my doctor says so, it's just like a suggestion. It might help them a little bit, like when in the ER, these are the medications I suggest: IV steroids, Pepcid, and Benadryl. And like, I recommend if she's needed 2 epis within 24 hours to admit her, don't discharge her until she's been 24 hours epinephrine free, and just like little suggestions like that. I don't know how comfortable he'll feel doing that because, again, he's helping me with my allergy issues, but he's not a mast cell expert, so can't hurt to ask. He's very helpful with my care, and he knows it often goes with POTS, so I think he'll be willing to help. Anyways, we are on the way there now. Got my #1 human supporter over there, and my #1 doggy supporter under there. Good girl. Well, my appointment went great. I will update y'all all about it later. Right now, Judd and I are stopping at Publix to grab some groceries, and then we're gonna head home and have some lunch. Looking spiffy in those glasses, babe. I got my cookie. Favorite part about coming to Publix. Harlow, what cheese should I get?
Hold something weird?
Ew, no, I'm not touching that. That is the weird cheese. I'm thinking of getting this extra sharp cheddar. We are back home. I'm a little bit hungry, so I made some lunch. There's some healthy things and some not healthy things, but that's okay. My apple juice, it's gonna be tasty. Well, I'm about to do my second breathing treatment of the day, but before I do, I wanted to update y'all on my doctor's appointment. It was super productive. My doctor and I agreed that between my infusions and medications, we're doing all we can to maintain my POTS. If we want to get that under better control, we got to get my allergies under better control. My POTS doctor is so convinced that I have mast cell activation disorder, he's actually already put the diagnosis code in my records. However, he said we're kind of exhausting all the options he knows of to control mast cell and allergies, but he wants me to keep in mind he's not an expert. He's just helping me maintain myself to the best of his abilities until I find somebody more knowledgeable. We also agreed that IV Benadryl is kind of a godsend and not so great at the same time. Not so great because I have to be accessed 24/7, which is increases infection risk, and also not so great because it's really potent and it wears me out. So I get worn out from the reaction itself and the medication, boom, double whammy. But when I'm not in an allergy flare and I'm at my baseline for reactions, it prevents them from reaching anaphylaxis, and it's played a huge role in keeping me out of the hospital. So for right now it's necessary, but we want to get me to a point where I'm more stable and my reactions aren't so severe that I have to use IV Benadryl. And that's why he's happy to send me to the doctor at UF Health, but we're being cautiously optimistic as to whether or not she'll be able to help me, because the last time I went to a mast cell knowledgeable doctor, it went terribly. There's a link to that vlog in the description of the video. Just be prepared to get frustrated. So I'm not going to stop looking for answers just because I see, a bad doctor. So I'm happy to go see her, but again, cautious optimism. My doctor was also really happy, and he thought it was a good idea to have that hospital/ER protocol. Basically, what it'll say is, if I need epinephrine more than once within 24 hours, admit me. Don't discharge me until I've been epinephrine free 24 hours, and it'll have my usual IV cocktail, along with some of my rarer disorders that no one really knows about, like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, POTS, mast cell, stuff like that. So, I'm going to type it up, send it to him. He's going to adjust it, and then put it on his letterhead and send it back to me, and I think it'll help. Again, my hospital doesn't have to follow his suggestions. That's what they are, just suggestions, but my hospital's told me time and time again that I'm so rare and complicated, sometimes they don't know what to do with me, so I think having that guideline will be helpful. So I'm really happy to get that going. And then the other thing is, we talked about my median arcuate ligament syndrome, which is one of my newer diagnoses. I found out February 1st. My POTS doctor ordered a sonogram of my stomach, basically, and what it is a ligament in my abdominal area is compressing my celiac artery, restricting blood flow, and it causes a lot of digestive issues. And it could even be causing my gastroparesis. It's curable, but I have to go out of state to a knowledgeable surgeon to get open abdominal surgery. And I'm having a hard time justifying that right now because I'm not very symptomatic. And I've talked to a lot of people, and they said when they first started out with this syndrome, they had a few months of relief, a few months of a really bad flare, a few months of relief, a few months of a really bad flare. And that's how my life has gone the past few years. Really bad digestive flares, the next one getting progressively worse. Like my last flare was the end of 2016 with my gastroparesis so bad could barely eat, nausea, vomiting, lost 20 plus pounds, and I almost needed a feeding tube. So I think the next flare with this is going to be worse, and usually it's like a few months time. So hoping it doesn't come back, but if it does, then we're going to look into it. I am sending my records to a Mal's knowledgeable surgeon in Stratford, Connecticut, just to see what he says, but POTS doctor and I agreed we don't have to jump on surgery right now because I'm still having issues with bloating and nausea and whatnot, but I'm maintaining weight and I'm able to eat, so that is good. That's what happened at the appointment. I am really content with it, and now I'm going to do my breathing treatment. Harlow, is he bugging you? Poor hippo.
Hippo.
She's just staring at me. Oh. Oh. I am brining some pork chops because we're gonna have pork chops with gravy, mashed potatoes, and broccoli and carrots for dinner. It's gonna taste really good. I'm gonna do a little bit of training. Harlow, spin. Alright. Harlow, touch. Touch. Good girl. Sit. Sit pretty. Don't use me. Good girl. Yes, Harlow! Touch! Touch! Good! So I think either she's being smart or it's because I have a treat in my hand. Either way, I don't care. But she's starting to like break apart my hand with the scratching instead of touching my stomach, which I think would be even more useful. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if she'll do it again. Good girl! See, she's starting to push my hand away from the scratching motion. Again, I think it's because I have a treat in my hand, but whatever, I don't care. It's very good. Again, I do this, I'm teaching her that new task, so when I start scratching at the beginning of a reaction, she'll nose bump me, and then I'll become aware that I'm starting a reaction, because sometimes I get a little, like, brain foggy, and I don't realize it, so she's going to make me aware of it. And you're very smart. Can you sit? Touch. Good girl. Harlow, spin. Okay, huh? Stand. Namaste. Good girl. You're so good. Judd is over there relaxing. We have both entertained the hippo. I've got the pork chops in the brine getting ready to cook dinner, and that's kind of it for today. I gotta say I'm pretty thankful to have a relatively good health today. No allergic reactions, no major issues with my POTS. I am having a little bit more pain than usual in my neck from my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but I will take it because everything else has been pretty good. And days like this, I'm super thankful for. And yeah, that's about it. I'm just relaxing with Judd the rest of the night and cooking some pork chops for dinner. I hope you all have a great night, and thank you so much for joining us on our adventure today.